Early in the morning, when the first rays of sunlight have just dawned in the sky, the coastal countryside comes alive with the sounds and images of a new day beginning. On the fishing wharf, small fishing boats have docked since dawn, carrying batches of fresh crabs and fish. The smell of salt from the sea blends with the flavors of newly harvested seafood species, creating an unmistakably characteristic atmosphere. The fishing villagers, with their tanned skin and calloused hands from years of working at sea, quickly unloaded their cargo from the boat. Each person has their own task. People choose fresh crabs. Crawling in bamboo baskets, people classify fish types according to size and type. There are titfish, mackerel, and even big ocean tuna. Besides the filled fish baskets, groups of women quickly removed the crawling crabs. They talked, laughter tingled around the corner of the wharf. Frayed baits and conical hats not only help them avoid the sun, but are also a symbol of durability and diligence. These women are not only sellers, but also connectors, bringing products from the sea to markets large and small in the region. Every market, they have to take advantage of every moment. Fish and crabs, if not sold quickly, will lose their freshness, a factor that determines the value of seafood. Traders from many places also arrived early to choose to buy the best batches. Price negotiations are in full swing. On one side, the seller always wants the best price for his labor. On the other side, the buyer seeks profit from resale. Vendors quickly weigh, measure, package and ship shipments. Large foam boxes filled with ice are stacked on top of each other, ready to get on the bus to the market or major restaurants. The atmosphere became bustling, with motorbikes, truck horns, and laughter, creating a symphony of working life in the coastal region. The stronger the crabs clamped, the fish were still struggling, as if trying to find their way back to the sea. They have completed their mission, becoming a source of life for thousands of people here. That scene is not only an image of daily work, but also a vivid picture of harmony between humans and nature. The scene of selling crabs and fish still lingers in people's eyes as a symbol of life, of the endless cycle between the sea and humans. From the time they set sail to the time they return to the harbor, each wave and each wind seem to remind them of the interdependence between people and the sea. And this early market is the clearest demonstration of that link, a link that none of them can or want to give up. The sky in the sea was clear, and the sunlight began to shine warm rays of light on the ground. The cool air of the early morning is imbued with the flavors of the sea, mixed with the salty smell of water waves. In a small coastal sea, where the waves gently roll down the white sand, life is gradually waking up to the murmur of ocean, waves, and the typical sounds of a peaceful fishing village. Besides the busy boats returning from a night of fishing, a group of fishermen were carefully pulling a large stingray out of the water. The giant stingray, with its vast wings and dark gray glabrous skin, had just been found caught in their net. Early rays of sunlight shine on the fish's body, causing its large wings to sparkle, as if there was a layer of silver emulsion covering it. The sight of catching the stingray attracted the attention of everyone around. A group of fishermen quickly gathered, their voices buzzing, mixed with cheers of excitement. Catching a large stingray is not a common occurrence, and this promises to bring them a large sum of money. With smooth coordination, the fishermen carefully remove the stingray from the net. Their calloused hands move expertly, each movement firm and precise. The stingray, although tired from the struggle in the net, still tries to struggle, its large wings flapping gently on the water's surface, creating characteristic sounds. But its efforts are futile in the face of the experience of fishermen, who are familiar with the job. Once removed, they quickly carry the stingray ashore. A small tricycle was waiting to transport the fish to the seafood bowl in the village. The trip to the seafood bowl took place quickly. The three-wheeled vehicle rolled through narrow roads, flanked by tiled-roofed houses looming behind coconut trees. The sea breeze blew in coolly, but on the faces of the fishermen was intense concentration. They clearly understand that this fish is of great value, and they want to ensure that it arrives in the best condition. At the seafood barn, the barn owner, a middle-aged man with a sturdy appearance, was waiting. He came out of the big house behind the barn, staring at the stingray pulled down from the tricycle. His old eyes shone with curiosity and a little excitement. Immediately, he stepped closer, bent down to examine the fish. He glided his calloused hands through the smooth skin of the ray, examining each part of it with many years of experience in the profession. After a moment of careful consideration, the barn owner stood up straight and began to negotiate with the group of fishermen. The talk became heated as both sides began to offer prices. The fishermen, with their joy on their faces, wished to receive a price worthy of their efforts and luck. The barn owner, with business experience, knows the value of the fish, but also does not forget his profit goals. The negotiations lasted for several minutes, and finally, the two sides reached an agreement. A pretty good price is offered, enough to satisfy both sides. The fishermen nodded in agreement. They quickly received their wages and smiled contentedly. And the manta ray, after being carefully measured and recorded, is prepared by the owner of the barn for resale or transfer to the big restaurants in the city. When the fishermen returned to the sea, their silhouettes gradually disappeared behind the coconut trees in the distance. A new day of work begins again, with the hope that the sea will continue to bring precious gifts like this giant stingray. And in that moment, the sea and people once again become one, creating a vivid and vibrant picture of the coastal countryside. Once the stingray is sold, the group of fishermen return to their routine. The sun was high, shining bright golden rays of sunlight on the coastal land. At this time, not only fish and crabs were brought back, but also three-notched fish and sea snails were also rewards from the sea that people here harvested. Three notches, a small crab with 3 bars on its carapace, is a popular specialty of the southwestern region. Three notches are not always caught, but once in season, people often find them crawling around mangrove and cork trees. After catching these 3 notches, they will be salted immediately to maintain their freshness and create a unique flavor. At a small corner of the village near the coast, a group of women had everything ready to salt the 3 notches. Large brasses were placed on the ground, surrounded by jars of salt, barrels of fish sauce, and spices. The 3 notches are carefully rinsed in salt water to remove mud remaining on the carapace and legs. After washing, each 3-notched fish is neatly placed in large jars, alternating with grain salt and some spices such as chili, chopped garlic, sugar, and delicious fish sauce. The 3-notched jars, once salted, are left in the shade, in a cool place to ferment for a few days to weeks, depending on each family's preferences and experience. Meanwhile, in another corner of the small market, sea snails are also being processed. Incense snails, wool snails, and fat snails caught from the sea are still alive, wiggling in large basins of water. Local people, with many years of experience, know how to keep snails fresh and not die before processing. They soak the snails in clean water, changing the water regularly to remove the mud inside. Some types of snails will be soaked with rice, water, or chili water for better cleaning. Once prepared, the snails will be brought to the market or brought to restaurants in the area to be processed into many delicious dishes. Some people still keep some snails to prepare for family meals. Snail dishes such as stir-fried wool snails with coconut, grilled fat snails with salt and chili, or steamed snails with ginger are often indispensable dishes in the meals of coastal people. Returning to the scene of 3-notched salt, 3-notched jars have been stacked on top of each other, ready to become an indispensable specialty in family meals or festivals. The passionate scent of the 3 salt notches rises, blending with the smell of salt and spices, creating a homely space. The women, after completing their work, sit together under the trees, chat and share stories about life, about catches and delicious food from the sea. The new day continues with a simple but meaningful rhythm of life. The sea continues to provide valuable products to the people here, from large fish to small seafood such as 3 notches and snails. And the people, with their skillful hands and vast experience, have transformed gifts from the sea into delicious specialties, imbued with the flavors of their homeland. In the peaceful space of the fishing village, the sound of waves crashing on the shore is like a quiet lullaby, and life here is a vivid picture of harmony between humans and nature. Every time one sees jars of 3 stacked salt notches, or baskets full of snails, one feels the richness and diversity of this coastal land, where every passing day is a story full of colors about the lives and labor of fishing villagers.